Your niche is the single fastest way to go from zero to your first few $1,000s a month with an agency. When I finally stopped overthinking mine and just committed, I went from selling $33 a month websites that took 6 months to just barely hit $1,000 a month to a completely different agency. I hit 25K in month 2. Same work ethic, the only thing that changed was the niche and the offer. And that decision itself took me about 15 minutes once I knew what to look for. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to pick a niche that actually makes money, how to validate it before you actually waste time, and I'll walk you through what's working in 2026. By the end of this video, the niche question should be completely settled for you. So let's first talk about the kind of filter that I put niches through. And if it just passes this filter, it's pretty much good to go. The first thing is high margins for your clients. What does that mean? Does it actually make sense for your clients to pay you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month? A roofing contractor can close a job that's $10,000, $15,000. A hardscaper can do $10,000 or $20,000 jobs. Even fencing, 3 or 7K. And with that math, it makes paying you $2,000 a month very, very easily compared to just like a generic landscaper who cuts lawns for $50. If you're charging that person, $2,000 a month just to work with you, then you have to get them so much work just to make it actually worth it for them. This was something that I had to learn the hard way. I worked with these landscapers that were doing $50 grass cuts or a few $100 mulching jobs or just spring cleanup, blowing leaves. I had to get them so much work to make it worth it for them. And some clients, it was never even actually worth it for them. So I actually just kind of burned through a lot of clients because I just couldn't deliver them a massive result because it just didn't make sense. Until I switched into something like hardscaping that was, you're working with people who are doing 10, 20, sometimes $50,000 jobs. So all I have to do is just get them one job every 2 months to make it worth it for them. The next thing that I like to look for is if they're actively spending money on marketing or doing some sort of marketing to grow their business. I want people who are, paying their nephew to run their social media page. Maybe they're working with an agency, they're running ads. Maybe they're trying ads for themselves and getting bad results. The reason I like these guys so much is because you don't need to convince them that marketing is important and spending money to grow their business is important. You just need to explain how you're going to do it better. And there's a lot of different ways you can actually help these people build better businesses and, get clients in better ways. It could even be low ticket stuff if you're just helping them set up those foundational marketing things and then they're just paying you a very flat, small fee every single month for it. Or if you're actually running ads for them and maybe you have AI on the back end to actually help convert those leads and you're trying to scale that contractor to, $100,000 a month. It really just depends on their situation. But I like to only work with people who are actively trying to grow their business in some sort of way. And they know that marketing and getting more customers is the way to do that. And they're not afraid to actually spend the money to get to that specific point. If I'm talking to a prospect and I have to jump through hoops to convince them just to pay me some sort of money every month to grow their business, to get them out of a painful situation, I don't want to work with those people. They're going to just be a difficult client to work with in the long term. And if one bad thing happens, they're churning instantly. The next thing that I like to look for is if the market actually has a lot of people in it. The landscaping industry has over 600,000 landscapers in the US alone. Now, like I mentioned, just your generic landscaper is not the type of person that you want to work with. But there's a lot of different services inside of landscaping itself. Say, for example, hardscaping, right? And you actually only need, 15 of those clients, over 600,000 of them, to make 30K per month. If you have 15 contractors paying you 2K a month each, that's 30K per month right there. And that's 0.002% of the market. I also want to make sure that I can actually access these people very easily. The reason I like contractors so much, this goes for real estate too as well, is you're actually talking to the decision maker the majority of the time. If I'm calling up dentists, I'm talking to a receptionist. Chances are I'm not talking to the person that is going to make the decision to work with me. I don't like receptionists. I don't like gatekeepers. I like people who I can just call their number and I know the owner is actually going to pick up. By the way, click that link in the description if you're interested in learning how we can help you. Now, I want to talk about what actually is working because chances are you want to just know what other people are doing so you can base your decision off of that. So I'm going to give you guys some real examples based off of my agency and other people that I help build their agencies. There's mainly 3 niches that I like the most out of the majority of all of them, and that's roofing, some sort of remodeling, and also landscaping. The reason I like these 3 main industries the most is because there's a bunch of sub industries within those specific industries. Like roofing, for example, you have roofers who just do metal roofs. You have roofers who just do, terracotta roofs. You have remodelers that just do basement remodeling or whole house remodeling or just like outdoor siding remodeling or something like that. When you get really specific on the person that you want to work with and the ideal prospect and just make stuff specifically for those people, if you niche down more, if you just go more broad, you're going to attract more broad people. If you go very specific, you're going to get your ideal clients that you want. I like to tell tell people all the time, pick a big industry like roofing, for example, but then sub niche down into something that is more unique. I would do like metal roofs or terracotta roofs, because terracotta roofs, for example, are only in very specific sections of the US, and there's not a ton of roofers that do it, but the market is actually big enough for us to build an agency in it and actually grow that agency to a specific point. The job price for the roofs is still the same. It's just very specific to the type of person that we want to work. Roofing's a really good one. Modeling's a really good one because the job value is so high. Even like, hardscaping stuff, patios, the job value is so extremely high. And all I have to do is, if I'm charging them $2K a month, say I don't get any results the first month, then they're paying me $4,000 total, but I land them a $10,000 job. Okay, well, they've made a return. And if I just bare minimum get them one job a month, it makes me a no-brainer to work with. I also really like landscapers and like painters, for example, specifically more for if you're doing some sort of lower ticket service, because these people, they need a lot more volume to stay profitable, but they also get a lot more volume. The service delivery aspect of things is really, really easy. There's not a lot of competition that you're dealing with. Someone like roofers, for example, yeah, you can get away with just getting them a job a month, but they obviously would want more than that. But the competition in the roofing industry is, if you go onto the Facebook ad library, for example, and look up roofers, there's a ton of competition. There's a ton of agencies that are running ads for local roofers. But if you go into like landscaping, for example, there's not a ton of agencies in that, and the market's a lot bigger. So you're not going to be competing with a bunch of other people. So service delivery and getting your clients results is actually a lot easier. The reason that I went into landscaping and dealt with contractors in general is because I grew up in a contracting family. My business partner grew up in a contracting family. My dad was a roofer. He owned a roofing company. I grew up doing contracting, work as my jobs when I was a kid. I worked as a landscaper at a landscaping company for almost 2 years, and I was helping them with their marketing, and I understood the industry really, really well. So it just made sense for me to go into it. And nobody else was really in that industry at the time. No one was really thinking about it. I have an agency owner friend. He grew up in a family where his parents were real estate agents. So it just made sense for him to go into the real estate industry because he just knew how to talk to these prospects. He knew what kind of pain points they were dealing with. He just understood them really, really well. And the people that I see the fastest results, they get into industries where they can actually like have some sort of relation to the industry that they're jumping into. I saw a bunch of fast results really quickly because I knew the landscaping field and I knew how to talk to these people. My friend, who was an agency owner, saw a lot of fast results in real estate because he was just familiar with that. If I were to go into real estate, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, and I would have no idea how to talk to these people, and they would know that. They would know that I have no idea what I'm talking about. It would be a lot harder to get started in that specific field. But I'm playing to my strengths, and since I did that, I made a lot of money doing that. So the people that I see that they play to their strengths, they go for a market that they're familiar with, they understand them. Maybe their cousin that they haven't talked to in a few years is a landscaper. At least they're, top of mind. They have something to relate to when they're talking to their prospects. I also want to quickly talk about saturation, okay? And why people are always thinking, oh, well, this niche is too saturated and all this stuff. That is not the case at all, okay? It is not the case at all. Niches do not saturate at all. Offers and outreach strategies do. Say, for example, you're in an industry like landscaping. There's 600,000 landscapers. Say there's only 2,000 agency owners in that industry. 10% of those agency owners have 4 to 5 clients, and maybe only 2.5 are getting good results, okay? Well, first off, there's massive proportional difference between the amount of agency owners and the industry that you're in, but also those people who are running agencies, they're not getting good results for their clients, so the clients are going to leave them. Another thing I want to talk about is like most people are just completely copying what they see, right? They go on YouTube, see an Instagram reel, they see some sort of script that's working. Maybe it's cold call on cool SMS, or maybe they see some ads and they're funnel hacking a little bit to see what's kind of working. They just copy what they see word for word. They have no idea why it actually works and why they're saying the things that they're saying. And so once everybody sees that script, right, they say the YouTube video that person copied got 10,000 views, right? A ton of those people in that video go out and try that strategy. Now the strategy won't work anymore because the market will just get sophisticated enough to realize, okay, this is a thing that I've heard before. I'm just going to tune it out and go on about my day and not pay attention to this person. So if you take the time to actually understand why things work and why you say certain things when you say maybe you're on a cold call, why you're saying things and why you structure the cold call that specific way, well, then you have more freedom and you actually have understanding, and you can make a script to you and to your business that sounds different and is a pattern interrupt for when you're actually talking to these clients, right? Same thing with cold SMS. You make a script, you understand why this script works and why we're saying specific things in it, we can adjust accordingly. Okay, well then we're making things completely catered to us. That means no one else could copy it, right? We're not making YouTube videos on what's working. We're not just like showing it off on YouTube videos, because chances are you're probably not. We're showing it off on Instagram Reels and it's not getting a ton of views. No, you're the only person doing that specific strategy. You're completely different than everybody else. And that's the most important part about when you actually are in some sort of niche or doing outreach and just being completely different than everybody else. Because most people are just completely copying it, right? They have no idea what's going on. They see some shit, they try it, and it works maybe for a little bit and then it stops working, and then they just kind of don't know what to do. Then they just do the next thing, go find something else that was working and then copy that, and then just over and over and over and over again, because eventually things break and you need to know how to actually fix it. If everybody's doing some sort of AI receptionist, okay, then do the opposite. Do the generic Facebook ads. If everyone's doing Facebook ads, then you could try the AI receptionist. The market will get used to what they hear all the time. If they hear the same things over and over and over and over again, they're just gonna become numb to it and just drown it out subconsciously. But if it's something new, oh, I haven't heard this in a while. Oh, this is something I haven't heard before. They're gonna pay attention because it actually sparks curiosity. Now, some niches that I want to completely avoid entirely, and just tell you guys this up front because they are terrible industries to go into, is I would avoid restaurants, because you got to think like a meal could be 20, 30 bucks and you can't cold call them because chances are it's not the business owner picking up. You can't cold SMS them because a lot of the times it's a landline. You can run ads for it, but if you get clients, then it's going to be really hard to do the service delivery, and it's just kind of a headache from the start. Same things with like retail or e-commerce. For e-commerce, you really have to know what you're doing, right? You can't go after the clothing brands. There's just so many people in those industries and there's not enough big enough market. It's really hard to get your foot in the door. You can't cold call them. You can't just like cold SMS them. It's really hard to, reach out to them. And there's just so many other local businesses that need help and are so easy to reach as normal everyday people that want to grow their business. We want to completely avoid the businesses where they have a very low service price, restaurants, generic landscapers. We don't want to work with those people because it's really hard to get them a return on their investment. I want to quickly show you guys how to validate a specific offer in a specific industry, okay, and see if people are actually succeeding within that industry. All right, so there's something called the Facebook ad library, and all it is you just look it up, and it's Facebook's entire ad library of every single ad that's being ran on their platform. So we just click on all ads, search up, go with leads, search up leads, say leads roofing. We're gonna have a few agency ads pop up, so we can see that, like this one for example. So this is an ad that's being ran, 60 qualified appointments guaranteed, contractors. So this is obviously one that's being ran, but how do we know that these ads are performing and they're getting results? The person who's running these are actually getting results. So if we click on filters and then we scroll down to, we'll go here, we want to go back 1 month. So you can see from date to date, if we go back, so today's the 14th, it's Valentine's Day. If we go back a month, say we'll go to January 14th and apply these two filters, what it's going to do is it's going to filter out ads that have been running for more than a month. Okay. Now, if you're familiar with running ads, you're not going to run an ad if it's not working. Okay. If you're not getting results and after the first couple of days, if you're spending $50 a day and you're not getting results in the first 5 days, okay, it's not, something's wrong and you're going to turn off that campaign. But if you're running it for more than a month, well, then it's probably working and you're probably making money off of that campaign. Okay. So you filter it by a month and then make sure it's on active ads, and then you can scroll down. So you can see that this one actually has been running for more than a month and it seems to be working. So we could base what we do off of that. So you can see that 60 qualified appointments. This guy is targeting contractors just in general, which is interesting. It's more broad. He's doing 60 qualified appointments guaranteed. So that's his offer, 60 qualified appointments guaranteed, or you don't pay, right? The risk reversal. So we know this is a winning offer. You can keep scrolling. There's a ton of different ones in here.
Instant roof quote with no sales.
This is obviously a video one, instant roof quotes with no sales pitch, and just kind of keep scrolling down. And then you can see after your SEO guy, we'll do it in 14 days, right? That's an offer for, what's he doing? Just local business owners, right? And this is just lead roofing contractors. Here we go. Here's another one. Roofing contractors, 5 to 8 new projects every month minimum. This has been running for over some time now, so we know it's probably working. What we can do, it started running December 8th. So this ad has been running for a very, very long time. So we know that this guy's probably making money off of this ad, right? And we can see pretty much everything about it. So we click on summary details, a little window will pop up. You can see this is how it's structured. So, he has the 5-star thing right down here. He probably put in there. And then we have the copy about what the description says on the actual ad. Roofing business owners only pay per after you get to the kitchen table, which is interesting. I wonder if roofing business owners stop sake of wasting their pain points. We could just kind of see what's going on in this and, just honestly just understand it and then base our decisions about what we're going to do offer and industry wise. Right. And this goes for every single one. So if you're debating on landscapers, just look up landscaping leads on the Facebook ad library. If you're thinking about working with realtors, realtor leads, realtor marketing, kind of just different keywords keywords in that specific industry to then find some competition, right, that they're running ads. And again, this is completely free. And Facebook puts all this stuff out there, so you can go and look it up, right? There's nothing negative about this. It's just, seeing what's working out there. And there's nothing wrong with that, only when you start to actually copy it, right? So if I were to go in here and just completely copy everything here, copy the ad, copy the exact offer, all that stuff, well then, I do that, friend does that, a few people I know do that, and then the offer and all that stuff stops working eventually, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing things specifically to us, and so we know why it works. We want to make sure that we're doing things that are unique to us. So yeah, you can even see that this is just the ad, right? The offer, everything about that. 3 variations, it's been running for a while. We know it works. Now you can absolutely take everything that I just walked through, go pick a niche this afternoon and start outreach to business owners tomorrow. But picking your niche is only the first step. You still need the outreach scripts, the show up rate systems, ad systems, the sales frameworks, and the fulfillment system to actually turn that niche into a real business that's making you money, that pays you every single month. So if you're interested in working together, click that first link in the description. And if this video finally helped you settle a niche, hit subscribe, because I'm going to keep putting out videos that walk you through every part about building an agency the right way. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.